This is like how I get my ideas for videos nowadays. I just walk into this closet, grab something. Today's video is about whatever is inside of here. That's right, it's finally time. About a year ago, HHG Drums sent me this Stave shell, and this thing is absolutely beautiful. And honestly, everything he makes is stunning. I mean, just look at this kit. That's ridiculous. So if you want to check out more of his work, or if you want to purchase any of his drums, you can check him out at HHG Drums on Instagram, or check out his website at hhgdrums.com. And he has a bunch of sound demo videos on his YouTube channel, which again is HHG Drums. So here I am a year later, finally doing something with this show. Me moving really delayed this project, but finally my garage is now in a state that I can actually work in it, so I wanted this to be the first project I did. Of course, the first thing I did was finish the shell. My plan was to use tung oil, which is what I'm using right here, but it just didn't leave the surface finish that I wanted. I wanted something a little more natural looking and not super glossy, but I ended up using wipe-on polyurethane for the final few coats, and you'll see that it is a little bit glossy, but it's not like glassy looking, I guess. Next, I laid out the lugs, and when I was first thinking about how I wanted to build this drum, I was thinking about only using 8 lugs, but then I realized if I did 10, the drum would look more symmetric since the lugs would fall on the strips of maple, and it would look more uniform and honestly look more thought out. I also decided to invest in one of these layout mats. This one is from Drum Foundry. It's kind of pricey, but I see myself using this basically the rest of my life, hopefully. And yes, I know there are free ones online, but this one has way more features, and the free one I was using before, the lines are like super thick and would be basically impossible to lay out anything with any sort of accuracy. So with all of the holes laid out, the next step is of course to drill them all. I waited till the next day to lay out the rest of the hardware just because I wasn't really sure about where to put the air vent, but I settled on over the butt plate just because I didn't want to mess up the symmetry of the drum, but I probably could have picked a better place, but I guess I'll live with it. You'll also see I'm using a backer piece so I avoid any sort of tear out while drilling through the shell. And since the shell has built-in reinforcement rings, I had to tape this piece of wood so that the part of the shell I'm drilling is contacting the wood, and therefore the fibers of the wood are supported while drilling through and you don't get any tear out. And yes, I finally got a real drill press. This is actually the first time I'm using it, so what better way to break it in than with a nice new drum shell. So now the fun part of assembly. This always scares me because if one little thing is just slightly off, there isn't really much you can do about it at this point. These are 3.5-inch tube lugs. I don't think I've said this yet, but the shell is 14 by 7. I went for the DW mag throw off and the 3PBP. I actually posted on Facebook asking which throw off I should use, and everyone said to use the trick throw off. But I honestly don't really like the look of that thing, and I'm sure it's a great throw-off, you know, nothing against Trick. But the DW one fits the classy look I'm going for with this drum, so thanks DW for keeping it classy. This is the air vent, and it's an air vent. Right here I'm putting on a Remo Controlled Sound X and a Remo Ambassador snare side, which many of you all know is my go-to snare head combo. And these rims I got off eBay. They're old Pearl Super Hoops. They're basically just really beefy triple flange hoops. But after I got the drum tuned up a bit, something just didn't seem right, and this is the first time I've ever tuned a drum of this size, or a snare I should say of this size. So it could have just been me, but I thought I would try some die-cast hoops just to get a more, you know, focused sound. And while I was at it, I thought I would switch it up and try out the Remo P77 just for the sake of trying it out. At this point, we could easily call this drum done, but what's a drum without a badge? And here is the completed badge straight out of the HHG workshop, at least completed on his end, and someone was a little bit lazy with their filming, but I got a few finishing touches to do with this before I put it on the drum. So hopefully you can see that this is now curved and actually fits against the shell and doesn't rock back and forth. there it is, the completed HHG Drums Stave shell snare build. Like I said, it's been over a year, and the first time I posted anything about this shell was in September of 2016, and I completed the drum today, and it's March of 2018. So thank you everyone for your patience, and especially thank you to HHG Drums, first of all for waiting, but also for sending me the shell in the first place and for making that sweet badge. It really ties the whole drum together. So all of his links are in the description, all of his social sites and his website. And I know everyone can't afford a custom-made snare, but at the very least, I'd recommend everyone go follow HHG Drums on Instagram and see all the awesome drums he makes. And I think I've kept you waiting long enough, so let's hear it.